Hi, and welcome to BG24 Public Affairs. I'm Melissa Belcher, this is Gemma Schultz and Danielle Griffin.
We're going to find out tonight why we've been having such intense record snowfall, strong winds, and cold temperatures.
You mean why this winter has been so brutal?
Exactly. Heather Plouffe is going to join us with a meteorologist from WTOL.
And we know that staying warm this winter has definitely been a challenge, but we also have a representative from Home Depot that's going to help us, become winter efficient as well as cutting down on some of those electric bills that we have.
And it's almost February 14th, which means everybody is thinking about love.
Yep, that's right. Everybody wants to spend Friday with that special someone.
And we have some great gift ideas as well as an individual that's going to talk about some relationship advice for us.
Yep. But before we get to all of that, Heather Plouffe has the weather for today. Heather.
Thanks, Melissa. We saw your average February day today. We saw temperatures in the mid to low teens under a fairly sunny sky today, but for tonight expect our temperatures to drop down into the single digits, and those clouds are going to stick around through the early part of the evening, but as the night progresses they're going to move out of the area. Winds will be light and variable, and chance of snow only 10%, so thankfully for tonight we won't be seeing any of those snow showers coming through. And for tomorrow, we'll be seeing those temperatures rise back up into the 20s under a partly cloudy sky. Those winds will still be light and variable. It'll be a nice break from the weather that we've been seeing the past few months. Chance of snow only 20%. And for the weekend, we will see a chance of snow showers move through northwest Ohio. Those temperatures will continue to be through the low to mid 20s throughout the weekend. Monday we do see a warm up though, 33 degrees. After the break, I will talk with a local meteorologist to discuss this record-breaking winter. Stay tuned. This winter has brought record-breaking snowfall and low temperatures. Here with us tonight is Kimberly Newman, a meteorologist with WTOL in Toledo. So Kimberly, what's with this weather?
You're not the only one asking that question. This is the sort of situation that will be really interesting for us to look back on it after the winter has ended, which I promise is not too far away here for us, and really use this as kind of a case study moving forward. Why did this happen? When can we expect this to happen again? And give us an idea of some of those tipping points, those clues to look for next time something like this develops.
Yeah, so I think the question on everybody's mind is, where is all this cold coming from, the snow? Why has it been so extreme this year?
Yeah, why now, exactly. Weather is all relative, so that's what I tell folks a lot, is to remember the last time that it was this cold, and folks will actually struggle with that, and they'll say, oh, 1977, 1978, because it was such a memorable year. This is becoming a memorable year, but only because it is so very cold out there. Last year was memorable as well, but only because it was warmer, more mild, right? And 2 years before that, we were in the 80s in March, and while folks were loving that, and they may be not loving this so much, that's what makes it a little more of a, it sticks in your mind a little bit more. So without getting too scientific, the patterns that we've been dealing with have been remarkable. Even as a meteorologist, it's fun to live through something like this and be able to say, yeah, I was there, I forecasted that, or I experienced that. But it's just a situation where kind of the floodgates are open and weather is very fluid, and once something starts, it's really difficult for it to stop.
Right, so you mentioned that a few years ago we were relatively warmer than average. So what's the difference between this year where we're colder than average versus an average year or an above average year for us?
Calling anything weather-wise typical is always so difficult, because what is typical? You expect something to fall within a certain average or a mean, but to do that, you're taking the average over 30 years. So if that average was maybe only over a 5-year period, you're going to have extremes on one end or the other. And dealing in those terms is always a difficult thing with the weather, because you can never quite expect something to be so much colder or so much warmer. So this year, I think, is going to be something that a lot of folks do remember.
Right, and in going into making a forecast, I remember the first snowfall that we had in January, the big storm, probably the biggest one of the season. How did you guys feel in going into that forecast? Were you nervous? Were you thinking if there was going to be more or less snow? What were your thoughts on that storm?
As a meteorologist, your confidence grows as you get closer to the storm. So days out, you'll see something and think, this looks like it could be really something that's developing. And then you wait for the puzzle pieces to come together. So once those elements are there, the moisture, the cold air, and we look at specifically the track of a low pressure system as it moves in. Once all of that started coming together, we knew that this was going to be something that folks were going to be talking about the next day. And our number one job is to protect the public safety. So if we were successful in doing that, keeping folks off the roads, making sure that they were making smart decisions, then we did our job. Whether we got 5 inches of snow or 5 feet of snow, we just want to make sure that people are informed and safe.
That's true. And I had a question too. In that snowstorm, we had level 3s all across Northwest Ohio, but I know that you guys still have to go to work.
We do.
Regardless of the level 3. What is that like, driving through level 3 snow?
Luckily, we fall within the same category as emergency vehicles. Anyone who works in the media gets a free pass to be on the roads, but it's a dangerous situation. I grew up in Buffalo, where snow is a very popular thing, so for me, it wasn't something that I hadn't seen before. We received feet upon feet of snow where I grew up, so it was a lot easier to maybe tackle that from my experience. But I know a lot of folks actually stayed downtown in hotel rooms and made accommodations and sent their pets away to family and friends' houses just to make sure that they could be there safely. And we all stayed until the level 3 expired, which was good. We weren't trying to fight the odds.
Right. Good point. And then another thing too with that storm, I remember a lot of meteorologists on TV were talking about this polar vortex that was bringing all of the cold in.
Right.
Could you kind of explain what that is?
Absolutely. What I love about my job right now is that the process of sharing information is so much easier now with social networking, Twitter and Facebook. And I think that term, that phrase to describe the storm became so popular because it gave it an identity. It became something that people could identify with. A polar vortex for us is just simply when the center of a low pressure system that usually resides in the Arctic slides far enough south that it's fueling colder air into our area. So the cold air always exists. It's just a matter of whether or not it's going to make it here to Northwest Ohio. So the air that we were receiving was more Canadian air or Arctic Circle air. And like I said earlier, I always love to say that it's the floodgates are open. When the jet stream sinks far enough south, there's nothing to stop that polar vortex from coming down. So it's a rare occurrence, but it does happen.
Yep, and it's definitely been bringing us our frigid temperatures.
I know.
Lately.
It'll be over soon, I promise.
All right. Well, thank you, Kimberly, for joining us tonight. We'll be right back after this break.
Contact BG24 News with email, Twitter, or Facebook.
Hi, and welcome back to BG24 Public Affairs. As Heather was just saying, the weather this winter has been absolutely brutal, and everyone is concerned about staying warm. So joining us in the studio tonight is Corey Loomis from the Home Depot right here in Bowling Green. Hi, Corey. Thanks so much for joining us.
Hi, thank you, Melissa.
So what can people do to stay warm this winter without breaking their pockets?
Well, one of the first things that we talk about at the store is being prepared and knowing what's available to you. And from year to year, that can change. So the best way is to come in and see some of the new and innovative products that we offer.
Okay. Now, I see that you have various kinds of insulation here. How important is having the proper insulation in your home, living in a place like Ohio?
Ohio's weather can be cold one day, warm the next. So the proper insulation is key. And with different applications, there's different types of insulation, whether it be an attic, a basement, above grade, below grade, pipes, you name it. We should have it covered for you.
Okay. Now on the Home Depot website, I've seen that there's about 6 different types of insulation. So, in your opinion, what would you say is the best?
The best around here would be attic insulation.
Okay.
Single-story houses, double-story houses. There's all of those houses have attic spaces. And that's where the main insulation in your house should be placed.
Okay. Now, would you say that certain factors like heating and cooling should affect basically whether a home has heating or cooling or doesn't? Would you say that that affects what type of insulation should be installed in the home?
Right. What insulation will do for your home is make it more efficient. And that's one of the key terms that we use at Home Depot is efficiency. So the proper insulation in your attic, the proper insulation in your walls will let your furnace run more efficiently and save you money in the end. That's one big thing that we always preach is you'll make the upfront purchase, but in the long run, it's actually going to put money back in your pocket.
Okay. Now, would you say that someone who doesn't have any experience like myself, would you recommend someone like me installing it myself or contacting a professional to install it properly for
And that's a
mine?
great question, and that's one that we get quite often.
Okay.
And being a do-it-yourself store, we offer both.
Okay.
We accept a customer that walks in off the street and has the know-how to do it. If you're going that route, it will definitely save you money.
Okay.
If not, we have professionals that can install it for you.
Okay. And what type of tips would you give someone who was brave enough to install it themselves?
Someone that wanted to do it themselves, the main thing is seek the knowledge. Just come into the store. We have plenty of associates that deal with this type of stuff every day, and we can lead you in the right direction. If it's something that we don't carry in the store, we have several avenues where we could special order it for you and get
Okay.
you the exact insulation that you need.
Okay. And are there any specific tools needed for someone doing it themselves?
Being in different areas, your house, some houses are older houses that may have some damaging materials in them. Basically, just gloves, dust mask. We recommend a full body zip suit just to keep you clean.
Okay. Okay. And I see that you have brought some in, right?
Right. These are some just really basic insulating pieces that a lot of our customers are coming in for every day. Pipe insulation, one that a lot of people don't associate with weatherization and home efficiency, but
Okay.
anytime you can keep that water warm, all the way to the faucet, it'll save
Okay.
you money.
And this goes around the pipes in
It
your
snaps right over the pipe. It's got a slit in it. Cheap, effective way.
home? Okay. And what about this over here?
This is going to be a wall insulation. It's built for 2x4 walls. Coming to the store, you're going to see a lot of other installations that look very, very similar, but a lot of them have very different purposes. So Pink is our brand, Owens Corning, straight out of Toledo.
Okay.
So good stuff.
And you all also sell the spray insulation, right?
We do.
Okay.
Any place in your home that you can eliminate cracks and gaps in your foundation, walls, this will keep the air out.
Okay.
Relatively cheap, under $5.
Okay. And what about this one here?
These are just some window applications, foam tape, very inexpensive, self-adhesive backing. You can walk in any day of the week and put this on your window or door and make it more efficient.
Okay, so as we all know, everyone can head to their local Home Depot, but if they wanted to look for materials elsewhere, what could they do?
Well, you can go to our Home Depot website. It'll ask you to be area specific. You can just enter your zip code. You can follow us on Twitter. We have a Bowling Green Home Depot Twitter page
Okay.
at BG Home Depot 3864.
Okay.
Just a lot of great products. Like I said, always coming out with more innovative products.
Okay, and the website is www.homedepot.com.
It is.
Okay, so remember that, everyone. Okay, well, thank you so much for coming in. We
Yep.
really appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Okay, stay tuned, everyone.
We all know that relationships can be a lot of work. With Valentine's Day coming up, we have Cheryl Kelly here. She's a counseling psychology doctoral intern at BGSU. Cheryl, so what are some ways that you can keep a healthy relationship?
Well, the first way is a cliche that is heard all of the time, but it is absolutely true. Keep communication open. There is no way that you can have a healthy relationship if you do not have open communication with your partner. And that is the first step in having a healthy relationship. After that, keep things fresh in your relationship. Be willing to try something new every once in a while. I know that things can tend to get stale once you know someone for a long period of time and you used to how they act and used to knowing what they're wanting to do, but it's good to keep things interesting so that you won't get bored too quickly.
Okay, that's really great advice. Valentine's Day is coming up and you said keep things fresh. So what are some examples or some things that you could tell a couple that is maybe having a hard time or just getting bored? What are some fun ways?
Try something that you've never done before. I know that we have a tendency to talk ourselves out of doing things that we find scary or that I'm not sure if I'm going to like that. Try it. You never know if you're going to like it. If you don't like it, laugh about it. But it's good to try something that you've never done, just to say you've done it with that person. And also, be willing to just be spontaneous. You may not have a plan, and that can be a fun thing in a relationship. So just be willing to go out on a limb and just enjoy the day and do something different for once.
Okay, and maybe for some people that aren't in a really committed relationship or kind of more in the dating scene, what advice do you have for them if they still want to do something fun too, or that they could maybe get into a more serious aspect?
If they want to get into a serious relationship, they need to change their habits. Apparently, they've been doing some things that have given the impression that they're not looking to be serious. So first, they need to think about themselves and see, how can I change my habits to let people know that I really am interested in being in a more serious relationship? And once you change those habits, practice being sincere with those habits so that people won't think, well, I remember you used to be the person that would always try to talk to whomever you could talk to. Really let people get to know the new you. So you have to be the one to change, and if they're not willing to be convinced by your change, you might want to move on.
All right. And also, what would you tell a person who's maybe in a rocky or bad relationship and keeps going back? How could they break that habit?
Start thinking about you more. If no one is willing to see the beauty in you and realize that you are worth their time and effort, you need to move on. But you have to realize that about yourself before someone else can identify that within you. So think about yourself as someone who's worth the attention and worth the time. And if you find someone who's not willing to give you that, you need to move on.
Okay, any other advice you would give to someone maybe in a relationship or searching for one?
Relationships take time. Be patient. Sometimes when you're so eager to be in a relationship, you're more likely to end up in a bad relationship. So if you happen to be alone on Valentine's Day this year, it's okay. It does not mean that something is wrong with you. It just means that you're allowing yourself to get to know the right person. So just be patient about it and trust that things will happen when you're ready for them to do so.
All right, well, thanks, Cheryl. That's great advice. Now we're going to go over to Danielle. She's got some great gift ideas for Valentine's Day.
Thanks, Gemma. Now we know every woman is anticipating that lovely holiday of Valentine's Day, which is approximately 4 days away. Now here with me, I have Jean Klotz, who is the owner of Klotz Flower Shop here in Bowling Green. Thank you for joining us, Jean.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, now we know Valentine's Day is approaching, and how is your staff coping with all of the orders and things of that nature?
Well, today we had the shipment of flowers came in a little late with the cool weather and the snow and things over the weekend, so we got in 50 boxes of flowers today, and we were processing them with the different treatments we do. We got in over 1,500 roses of a variety of colors, and I brought a few here this evening to show you some of the lavender, the multicolors. The red is still the popular one for Valentine's Day. We probably get 100 dozen of the red ones, but people like a lot of different colors, and like I say, the lavenders are real. That one has the fragrance, and a lot of people will buy that. Something you can tell.
Yeah, I can smell it.
And then also I brought today with some a tulip arrangement. This is my favorite flower, the tulip.
Good.
And these bulbs, these tulips come from Holland or other areas they can be grown. The roses, I might add, come from Latin America and South America. Wow. The climates down there is perfect. They have their certain altitude, and the flowers do real well. Years ago, I've been in the business all my life.
Good.
And
you know your stuff.
Right. My wife and I have been working together for 43 years plus. So, but years ago, we couldn't get a rose like this. It stands as strong and tall. It grown in the United States because we just don't have the sunny weather that we need. So, but so the flowers that are grown in South America and things are really nice quality roses and will last a lot longer. I'll let you go ahead. You might ask me some questions. I'm just going away.
So what is like the most popular arrangement that you guys have that most people come in and ask for?
Well, I brought a smaller version of a dozen roses. Of course, there's just 3. So a dozen roses is very popular, whether it's made into an arm bouquet or into a vase. And we put baby's breath and some pittosporum and things like that. But that's the most popular. Then going to more of a European vase that has a variety of flowers in it too is real popular as well. We don't make a lot of arrangements in baskets anymore. It's more in the glass vases and those type of things.
Okay, now we know flowers are timeless, but like in the winter months, what would be a winter like arrangement that you would put together? Because you know some flowers may not be available in certain winter months.
Well, we can get about any flower you want now.
That's good.
Being grown like that, and it's that mixed vase arrangement that we do a lot like that.
And what would be constructed inside of a mixed vase?
Well, a rose, we could put tulips, we could do some alstroemeria, some pomps, different things like that, and different filler. And when I call filler, this is filler here, like the heather, and this is pittosporum here. We have that too. And then we have a little bit of plumosis greens here too that work into it.
Okay, now we know women love flowers. Now with flowers, I know that I love flowers, but what is your recommendation for something to give a male?
Well, you'd be surprised how well us guys like flowers too. I enjoy flowers.
Because you like tulips.
And like I said, tulips is one of these that I really like as well, because this flower will actually grow, and the stem will grow up taller. It's one of the few flowers that do that in arrangement. The roses will open up, but the tulips actually grow, and you can see them grow. So it's really kind of neat there. And then we have a box of candy and a balloon or something like that. It's real nice too.
Okay, for individuals that are on a budget for this season but really want to get a gift from someone, what would you recommend as well?
Well, we have buy a single rose if you like.
You do offer single roses.
Oh, sure. And we'd mix it in with the green so it has a nice look to it.
So there
Does
is no
really well.
excuse for not
No,
getting a
there
girl
isn't.
flowers.
And we can deliver in town as well. We have minimums on delivery, but we'll be taking a lot to the university too.
Okay, so now with the flowers, you said they come from different places. Like, what are some of your distributors, and how does the process go when you
We
get?
mainly have one distributor that we buy from in Toledo, Ohio, but they come Viva from Florida and then South America.
And you said that these flowers you can get all season, so there's no winter flower, there's no summer flower, whatever flower that you recommend.
Well, sometimes there's certain things like lily of the valley and some certain flowers that people might want for a wedding or something like that. It's a little different, but majority, tulips is more of a winter and spring flower, so you wouldn't see that in the summertime, but we can get any really flower.
Well,
if we
thank
know
you.
in advance.
Thanks. Thank you so much, Jean, for
Okay.
coming in, all of your advice. So you guys, if you need any ideas for, the holiday that's coming up, we recommend that you go ahead and go for Klott's Flower Shop located in here in Bowling Green. And you guys stay tuned. We'll be right back.
That's our show for tonight. Thank you for joining us.
Next week, we'll find out how to keep your pets warm and safe in the winter.
And plus, President's Day is coming up, and we have all of the facts that you'll need to know about the holiday.
Some members of the BGSU cheerleading squad will show us how they brought that national championship title. And don't forget about BG24 News Friday night at 5:30. Good night, everybody.